Hey guys, Master Bart here, coming to you today to talk to you about our children. Think about it. What's better than our children? Nothing. They come to us, they're perfect, and with all their little challenges and with all their little buzzes they create, they remain perfect to us forever. They're our children. What can they do wrong? It doesn't mean that they don't drive us nuts, they don't frustrate us, they don't challenge us to be creative problem solvers. Sometimes they win, and sometimes they win, right? We do our best to keep them in line, give them the right information so they become superhumans. And that's our goal, to love them and nurture them and guide them down the direct path. But do you remember, there was a time when they used to listen to us. There was a time when they used to idolize us, follow us, do whatever we needed them to do. And then, somewhere along the lines, these aliens took over their bodies. And there's two of them in particular, the 5-year-old and the 6-year-old. These two aliens really take over these children. For example, you know, when your child was really young, you would just like pick up the toys. They would love to help you clean up. And then the 5 and 6-year-old alien shows up with this thing they taught them called dawdling. Dawdling is when a child will take a 1-minute activity and drag it out for 3 hours. This drives us nuts as parents. And we look at it and we go, what is so difficult? All I asked you to do is put your dish in the sink, right? So these aliens that take over our children, that's what makes us really creative parents, because we have to figure out ways to use their behavior to get what we need done. For example, they're in the most beautiful stage of life, right? 5 and 6-year-olds, they are looking for their independence. They're looking to separate themselves from us. They're looking to be their own entity. At the same time, they still need and want that love and nurturing and special time with us as parents. The challenge for us is we have to understand it's their time they need to be independent, and their time they need that love and nurturing. So when they're in their room playing, or when they're walking through the house and you walk over and pick them up and give them a hug, they don't want that hug at that time. At that time, they're looking to conquer a new task, a new mountain to climb, right? So you have to understand that they want the attention, they want the love and nurturing, and they want the independence when they want it, right? Not when we want to give it to them. So that's really challenging. And you know, we have to really master these skills that we need to teach our children, and we have to implement it at the right time, right? So what do we need to become? Yes, disciplined ninjas, right? Because at this time, all those behaviors are coming up. They're lying, they're talking back, they're making up stories. Like all these behaviors, not listening, right? So we have to find ways to guide them so that they make better decisions, right? So here's some tips for you. When my son was growing up, I took this little board. It was kind of like, for your understanding, like a little piece of a 2x4, right? And when he did something that was what I would consider something really bad, like he lied to me, let's say, about breaking something, I made him take a nail and I made him put it in the board, right? And so, you know, a day later, 2 days later, he would do something really sweet, like he would bring me something to drink or something to eat, and I said, okay, that's really good, let's go take the nail out of the board. So we take the nail out of the board and we put wood putty over it, right? But the process over the 5 and 6-year-old period, there were like 500 nail holes, right, in this board, because behavior, you know, put in the nail, take it out when the behavior was good. And what the point was to really try and show him, you know, you're going to do things that are wrong and you're going to do things that make up for it, but at the end, you can't heal everything. Some things you do are always going to leave a mark. So you have to be careful how you treat people, what you say to people, and what you do to people, because you don't want to leave a mark. that they're going to remember forever. And I think that board growing up was one of the biggest things that he remembered. And you could see, you know, as you start over here at 5, as you started getting more and more towards 6 and 7, the holes started to disappear. The behaviors were better. He was more thought out on what he wanted to do, what he wanted to say, and who he wanted to be. And that's the goal, right? The second thing that you could do with them is you could take a picture of you or your wife, right? And you cut the picture up into like 8 to 10 pieces, right? And every time they do something really good, you give them a piece of the picture, right? If they do something you consider to be, you know, one of those violating behaviors, something that requires discipline, you take one of those picture pieces away. And you keep them in a jar on their desk because otherwise picture pieces will be everywhere. When he can complete that picture, he can have special time with you. The special time isn't you take him to a toy store. The special time is you read a book with him. You take him for a walk in a park. You give him your time. And so parent pictures, really, really good way to help discipline children, right? You could also have them experience consequences. This is a hard one to do as a parent. For example, not that I ever did this but once, fighting to go outside when it was cold out without a jacket. And you know, if they go outside and they're playing and they're sweating, they're going to get sick, right? So you could fight with them about putting on this jacket, or you could let them experience results, right, or consequences. So they go outside, they play, they get sick, and then for 2 days they feel miserable. They don't go outside without that jacket anymore. They know cause and effect, what's going to happen if they're not listening, they're not putting their jacket on. So sometimes just experiencing the consequences is a good teacher. Need to be a phrase ninja. A phrase ninja was a really, really good one. So the theory behind that is you want to reframe or you want to restate certain things. So you say something like, okay, you can't go on the play date because you didn't clean your room, right? So it's a negative connotation, right? And right away they just pick up on it, right? So you rephrase that and you say, hurry up and clean your room so we could go on your play date. Oh, a whole different thing. Let me finish really quick so we could go play, right? It's more of a positive thing. So sometimes just rephrasing what you're going to be saying to them gets a better result, right? And then lastly, discipline injuring, make the punishment fit the crime, right? So this is a challenging one. I see this all the time in the school, right? You don't take away the Taekwondo lesson because they didn't turn the TV off, right? The Taekwondo has nothing to do with the TV, right? If you're going to do something because they don't turn the TV off, take away their TV privileges or their game privileges or their iPad privileges, right? Because that fits that punishment, right? What they didn't do fits what they get. So those are my tips for you to be awesome discipline ninjas. A behavior board is a really awesome thing to do. Parent picture game, that's a great reward system, kind of like giving tickets they do in school, right? You could experiment with the consequences. Just don't make it something that they're going to get really sick from, right? And become a phrase ninja. A phrase ninja is someone who just changes around what you say to get the result you want, and then make the punishment fit the crime. There's nothing better than our children. And you're going to love them forever, and they're always going to be a challenge for us. But at some point, they're going to be a blessing and help us as we get older, right? You don't want to be put in a shoe factory, okay? So I will see you next time. Share the video, like my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you next time with some more awesome tips. Bye, guys.